here and do a quick introduction so that we can find out, how and when did you get involved in real estate? What market are you in? And maybe something that's unique to you and your business. So let's see, Crystal, would you like to start us off? Hit that mic button.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
There we go.
Sorry
Yep,
about that.
take it away. Thanks, Crystal.
Hi, yeah, I've been a realtor now for 26 years. I'm in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And about 2 years ago, we joined, actually, it's just over a year, we joined EXP from being with Remax for 24 years. My husband and I have teamed up, I guess, about 10, 12 years ago. And now we run a small team and we sell about 150 homes a year.
That's great. Awesome. A fellow Remax. Also, I was there for 10 years. So let's see. Jamie, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in real estate and something that's unique about you and your business?
Yeah, I got started in real estate about 12 years ago, also started my career at Remax, joined EXP, coming up on 4 years on December 1 is my anniversary date. Right now, I run a 15 agent team, and something unique would be we've hired high school co-ops for a lot of years, and that is pretty cool.
Oh, that's amazing. It's a great opportunity to get kids started young too and learning about real estate, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's been good. A couple of them have gotten their licenses after doing that.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Jamie. John, give us a quick update about yourself.
Uh, Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. John Garuti here. So I live down in Florida, and yeah, I got into real estate. I actually got my license in January of 2020. Of course, that's when COVID hit, so I didn't really start doing anything till about July of that year. But since then, I've just dived head in. I went in full time, and I now have a team I just signed my ninth agent on my team today, so I'm excited about that. And yeah, my team, we focus on new construction sales, and that's over 80% of our business is just focusing on that niche here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, John. Lisa, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I started in 1989 back in Pennsylvania. I'm originally from New York, and came out to Arizona. I was home with my kids, and I did sign up with Keller Williams. And right as the market started to shift, one of the things I really learned was very hard work and how long it takes to close a short sale. So we're still standing. We're here, and we're doing great. Made the move over to EXP. Unfortunately, only 2 years ago. I should have done it sooner. It's been amazing. I'm super excited about it. We sell about 50 homes. We have a small team. Up until last year, it was really just me, two admin, and a buyer's agent, and we're working on growing our team, and now we have 5 team members. So that's part of our objective. And what's unique about us is I feel like we just have a great atmosphere of positivity in our team, and I'm fortunate to be associated with my team members who love working hard. So that's awesome for us.
Yeah, that's amazing. Congratulations on your success, and creating that environment is key really to success. So that's amazing. Well, thanks for the introductions, everybody. I guess I could give you guys a quick introduction as to my background. I used to be like a high-level computer consultant for about 20 years, and we had some extra cash, and my wife and I were like, well, what's better to do with it than invest in real estate? So in 2006, we started buying rental properties and flipping houses, and we had a partner that was at Remax, and he was the real estate agent. And around 2012, he said he didn't want to do it anymore, and so we were like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? So I went and got my real estate license in 2014, and my wife and I, an assistant, we flipped, fixed and flipped about 100 homes. And that's how we really got started in real estate. So it's a little bit different story than most people, but now we have a team. Well, we had a team at Remax of 6 agents that took us almost 10 years to build that team of 6. And we joined EXP Realty last year in January, and now we have 14 agents on our team here in Cleveland, and we have 26 agents in our downline. So quite a bit of growth, and it's all thanks to other Icon agents and other people here at EXP that are willing to help. So, and that's what this meeting today is about, is like, how can we share information with you? How can we help you grow your business? How can we help you sell more houses? So let's get started. I think my first question has to do with helping beginners as well as advanced real estate agents, because I know at different points in your career, you need different types of advice. So my question to the panel here is, what's one thing a beginner agent can implement to get more business now? And then I'd like to roll into what's one thing an advanced agent can do. So it's really about somebody with a smaller budget versus somebody with a larger budget. And what are the types of things that we can help them to get more business today? Would you like to start us off, Crystal?
That's a really good question. Put me on the spot. I've actually thought that for new agents, sometimes it's hard to get going for sure. And I mean, they can certainly do open houses. When we have a new agent on our team, we usually put them in open houses because it's a good way for them to practice talking to people. They might not necessarily pick up a buyer or a seller at first, but just getting out there and learning how to talk to people. I also, when we have new agents, I also mentor them personally, where they come with me to my appointments. We have, as with probably the entire panel, we have systems in place in respect to our marketing materials, and we like them presented a certain way until they get their own voice. So if there's a realtor that maybe in your organization that maybe you could shadow, I think that would be really helpful. And again, like I said, going into open houses, just relaxing and learning to talk to people.
That's great. And both of those are pretty much no budget types of things for a newer agent to kind of get started. And so open houses and shadowing. And I know for our team, we've got a lot of advanced agents on our team, and they can't always do an open house. They're very busy, and they're constantly reaching out to the rest of the team to say, hey, who can do this for me? And once in a while we have people that will volunteer, and then sometimes, like, we can't even, with 14 people, it's hard to find somebody to do an open house. So there's plenty of opportunity. That's awesome. Could we, so that's great for the beginner agent. Do you have any tips or tricks that you've implemented recently in today's market to help maybe a more advanced agent, something that's working in today's market to help them sell more houses?
We have one team member that joined our team after 20 years being in real estate, and she was actually tired of just doing the marketing, and the marketing had changed so much. It's hard to be an agent and to be able to market yourself, and like, you wear so many hats as an agent. And she actually joined our team because she was, I don't know, she felt tired or needed a refresh.
Right.
So I think, again, having the systems in place to support another agent that has more experience has been really good in her business. And she's taken the business with a refreshed attitude, and she's really happy, where she said before she was, hated doing certain things and didn't want to do them. So she was unhappy in certain parts. I don't know if that's a tip as much, or versus something that's just in our business right now.
No, that's fantastic. I mean, all the tips that you've given so far are like spot on. I have a similar situation. I had a Keller Williams agent. He's been in the business for 10 years. I never thought ever that he would be willing or interested in joining our team. and he's selling $4 or $5 worth of real estate a year, but he just felt tired too. He felt like he didn't have anybody to help lead him or tell him what to do next or how to get to the next level. And so he's been on the team for a couple of weeks now, and he's just so happy. One of the things that we've implemented was every Thursday from 9 to 11, you can come into our office, and we've got a bunch of inspirational posts that somebody else has done on Instagram, and we actually help them reproduce a 5 to 8 second reel, which is very short. There's no talking, and it's got a hook at the top, and then you get people with a trending audio. And so within an hour or so, you've got people that were totally unconfident, wouldn't do it, had no confidence, and they walk out of there 60 minutes later, and they've got 1,000 people interacting with them on social media in an hour. So it's those types of things. And that same situation where we've got somebody that is 10 years in the business and they just need a refresh. So that's awesome. Thanks, Crystal. Jamie, can you help us with that too? The same question is something for a beginner agent and something for an advanced agent to increase their business today.
Yeah, beginner agents, what I tell my agents is get belly to belly with as many people as you can. How I encourage them to do that is open houses, which Crystal just said, but a lot of times the objection is, well, I don't have any open houses and all of our teams listings are pending, or something like that. Go borrow them. Borrow them from another EXP agent, borrow them from another agent in your marketplace that's kind. And then the other thing is while you're borrowing them, see if you can do some social media posts about the house, walk through it, promote the listing. You can do HGTV style listing tours. If you don't work with a financial budget, you don't put ad spend behind it. But if you are working with a financial budget, you can put it on a page and put ad spend behind it. If you're not hiring a company to do that for you, there are ways to do that yourself, and there's plenty of tools, even in the Icon library, that you can figure out the best ways to do that. Then for a more veteran agent, I say GLS, Google Local Services. Become a verified Google screened agent. I've had a company helping me with that recently, and I have so much business I don't even know what to do with myself right now. And that's even after hiring a licensed assistant for the first time in a couple years about a month ago. That's been huge for ready to go buyers and sellers.
That's amazing. So the verified Google screened agent, do you feel like that is that the specific piece that you said that's generating the business, or is it something else that you said a couple things there? I want to make sure we caught it.
Yeah, I'm honestly not 100% sure because I hire a company to manage that for me. Um,
Awesome.
but I know after having some coaching calls with them that is a key factor to the success.
Gotcha. It's Google as well as this verified Google screened agent. So I totally agree. It's a newer thing. It might be a couple months old. I did set up every agent on our team in there. It does take a little bit of work if you do it yourself, or you could just hire a company to do it. But it is, so if somebody says, "Hey, I need a real estate agent in somewhere in Michigan," you want to make sure that you're in the top 3 agents that pop up so that your chances of getting clicked on or go way, way up. Because there might be 50 to 100 agents that come up in the list once you click, I want to see more agents. So the idea is, how do you get in the top 3 agents on Google screened, and then you're going to start to see an increase in business. So awesome. Thanks so much, Jamie. Those were great. John, can you give us something? John, can you give us something for a beginner agent and something for an advanced agent to help their sales?
So for a beginner agent, what I did was I learned how to do video. I learned how to edit my own videos, and actually YouTube was really what helped me get going and get a lot of my first deals. It was actually the first 4 out of 5 leads I got off YouTube. I actually closed them, so I was kind of hooked on that. And I
Mm-hmm.
think for any new agent doing YouTube, it definitely works. It definitely takes a little bit of time, but I've expanded doing that video across all platforms now, and Instagram and Facebook. So video definitely works, and you can either do it yourself, which basically costs you nothing but your time, or you can easily find editors on Fiverr, platforms like that, for inexpensive. I mean, $50 a video or even less, depending on the length of the video.
Mm-hmm.
So I think nowadays I think every agent, no matter where you are, should be doing video to get your brand out there.
That's awesome. Can we dive a little bit more into that? Your first YouTube video that you created, was it highly produced? Was it just something you did on your iPhone? Is it something that we could do ourselves?
I'm pretty sure I did it with my computer camera and a free video editor, and I
Nice.
just filmed it right in my I think my kitchen at the time. So
Amazing.
yeah, really no high level of production at all.
Okay. Is that
And I
video
think
still available for the people to look for you and find that on your YouTube channel?
I'm not sure if you're going to be able to find it.
Hmm.
I think it is there. If you go to my YouTube channel, what I did recently on YouTube was I kind of got rid of all the underperforming videos. So even though I've filmed over 100 videos, you're only going to see about 30 or so these days.
Yeah,
But I would tell everybody listening, like, don't worry about the production value of your video. You
right.
need to worry about the content and the value you're delivering through what you're teaching. So focus on that.
Right, right. Awesome. Well, we'll definitely look you up on YouTube. Is it different from your name or is it the same same as your name?
If you search my name, I'm pretty sure I'll pop up right
Pop up?
away. So
Okay. Awesome. And then, I mean, I feel like that's something that an advanced agent could use as well, but maybe you're doing something else right now that's working better.
For advanced agents, I would say just stay on top of your database and those past clients. That's been a big push for me. Now I'm going on my fourth year of real estate here. I actually started this at the beginning of the year, but just touching my clients all the time. So I started
Mhm.
a email newsletter. I'm doing that monthly. I'm moving that up to once a week pretty soon here. I just need another VA to help me. I've been doing client events this year. I've had 3 client events and they've all gone very well. And at first I was like, oh man, I don't know if this is working. But then, like the last 10 sales I personally did were all referrals. So I think it is starting to work. And I think there's always gold in your database. It's just staying on top of those people and just treating them like they're a friend, giving them a call like every other month and just checking in, saying hello, what's new, or inviting them out just to have a cup of coffee.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. The events are definitely things that work. Is there an event that you do that's less expensive than some of the other ones? Do you have a lower budget event that you started with?
The first event I did was pretty expensive. It was like $4,000, and we
Okay.
gave away a cruise at the event, and we had it catered by a local restaurant. But
Wow.
I mean, I don't think that's that much at the end of the day. And
Yeah.
what you can do is something else I've been working on is just business networking, really trying to build partners, other business owners. And the last event I had actually last weekend, we did a cookout. One of my mortgage partner, he did all the cooking for the event, and
Hmm.
I think the total event wound up costing about $1,500. We had about 150 people there,
Nice.
and I only paid $300 out of my own pocket because I got some other sponsors to chip in. I think 3 other sponsors all chipped in about $400 each. So
Right. So you look like a rock star and you spent 300 bucks.
yeah, exactly.
Awesome. I got a tip from another, I think it was I was on another panel. Is someone hearing an echo, by the way?
Sorry, that was my phone going off.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, it stopped. So I got a tip. I think it was on a different panel that I was on, and she said that she does a fall event and she does it at like it's a farm type environment and you pay one ticket price and you could go in and the kids can do like hay rides and there's pumpkins, and then they've got people dressed up, they do shows, so you just pay one admission. And so what she said was she invites all of her past clients. It's like $10 a ticket to get admission to the place for the whole afternoon. And then the other awesome idea that she had was is she would postcard her farm. So if you have an area that you're working and you just say, hey, here's the link, you have to RSVP and let me know if you're coming or not and how many people. And then she bought the tickets from the farm in bulk, and she set up a table at the entrance. And then as people would come in, they'd have to get their free ticket from her and, maybe take a picture. You get a chance to talk to them, give the kids maybe a little bag of something. But at $10 a person, you could have 100 people show up, and that's only $1,000. So if you get 100 people, that would be very good. So chances are, it could be an event that costs you $500, and you split that with somebody else. Now you're talking $250, and you've got an amazing event, and you're farming an area where you haven't met people before. So that kind of thanks, John. That made that pop into my head. So let's see, Lisa, what can you help us with for a beginner agent and an advanced agent?
Well, I'm so grateful for all the tips that everyone shared. I think there's so much value. I've been taking notes, just so you know.
Good.
So thank you, everybody. Most of the stuff I haven't heard of. So if I could bring something different to the table, not that all of those ideas aren't 100% spot on, and and kind of piggybacking on them, but I want to go back to like real basic. The first thing that I was told to do, and it's the same for buyers and sellers as it is for revenue share as well, is make a list of everyone you know and get that list. And even if it's just the guy at the gas station that you see every day, make sure that Jimmy's on that list. And if you don't have his contact information, you could work to get that. And then, making sure that you're, friending people, the guys that are at the tire shop and that you've gone to, and, people that in your community, your dry cleaner, and making that list of every single person because those people are going to become your source of referral business. And then start telling them that you're in real estate. Is it okay if I leave some cards here at Big O Tires? Is it okay if I leave some cards here at Einstein's Bagels? Is it okay if I leave some cards at the dry cleaner? And then, of course, the open houses, 100%. It is definitely, a place, to get business. I always say that no one's going to knock on my front door and say, can I come in and buy a house? But I can do everything that I need to do while I'm working, while I'm in an open house, even if it's vacant and I have to use my mobile hotspot. At least I'm meeting people. I'm meeting the neighbors out there, and taking those open houses to a higher level. Again, even if it's not your listing and you do have to borrow one, can you door knock before the open house? Put your flyer out there, and perhaps use something of interest on the back of the flyer. Like one of the things that's really popular right now, obviously, is football season. Maybe they'll put it on their refrigerator and, call you a couple months from now because they saved the flyer because there was something of interest on the back. So, and all those other things, great. And I'm maybe going very old school. I'm old or back to basics. But I would say that, those things are how you're going to generate business now. The faster you get out there, and, kind of combining that open house event into a way to touch your database as well. Even if they're not your past clients, if you're brand new, and if you're an advanced agent, they could be your past clients or still just your sphere of influence. Inviting people to come to your open house. Hey, I'm going to be doing an open house. I know you don't live too far. I'm going to have cookies and milk. I'm going to have wine and cheese, whatever it is that you're doing. And, come hang out with me, come see me. I'd love to see your face, whatever that is. And, making and generating those calls around that open house. Now, if it happens to be your own listing with an advanced agent, remember to use that, same thing for revenue share as well. There's agents in the area that same script. hey, love to see your face. Got an open house in your neighborhood. Come check it out. Come see me. Let's, have a cookie and milk, have a glass of wine and a piece of cheese, whatever it is. So making those calls around those open houses, getting out there, door knocking, and, just to, again, to, emphasize, your lender partners, your title partners, even your home warranty company, they can help you with branding and marketing. So you're not spending a bunch of money on doing that. And of course, all the social media stuff is free. So I would say, whatever you do, do it at the highest level possible. On my calendar, open house planning pops up every Monday morning at 8 a.m. So if we're doing an open house, the team is doing an open house, is there a price reduction we can get before the weekend? How much marketing can we get done in a week instead of starting on the same day? And that's best case scenario. Worst case scenario, you have today and you got nothing to do an open house anyway. So that's yeah. I would say that's everyone's ideas are great.
Yeah, that was great, Lisa. I think the thing with the business cards, and I know that maybe business cards is a dying thing, but I spend some time with a professional golfer, and he's constantly passing his golf business card out to people. Anybody he bumps into, he's like, "Hey, I'm a golf pro. Here's my business card. Let's do some lessons. Let's do this." He has no reservation about telling people who he is and what he's doing, and here's my card. And even if they're not a golfer, he's handing them his card. I'm like, that person is never going to golf in their life, and he's giving them a card. And I'm a pro. If you ever want to golf, here's my card. And but he's also a real estate agent. He's not an EXP yet, but he will be. Um, and we're out there golfing, and he's like, man, I wish I could get some more sales in real estate. And I said, well, if you passed out your real estate card as aggressively as you're passing out those golf cards, I said you would definitely have more business. And it's just the fact that he has more confidence in passing out that golf card than he does passing out his real estate card. So I think that's a great tip, and very low budget. So
And if I could just like piggyback on my own, what you just said, it just made me think of, a couple of different, scenarios where, I had a guy that was a pool guy. Apparently I gave him my card, like who knows how many years ago. I didn't know who he is. I went to his house for the listing appointment just because I hoped I was going to recognize him. And guess what? When I got there, I didn't. So, yeah, it is kind of old school again. And what if you gave out 1,000 cards? That's, in a year, that's 3 a day, right? And so 1,000 cards, times 2 years, 3 years, it's very inexpensive for that new agent. But at the same time, when you're giving them to like business owners, now those business owners know people of influence. And they go, oh, you're in real estate, you're dry cleaner, the people who own the mechanic shop or whatever, the hairdresser, the hair salon. And oh, you got to call Lisa, you got to call Lisa, you got to call Lisa. So, it's just, it does work, and it doesn't cost money.
amazing. Yeah, for sure. Let's see. I'm going to shift gears a little bit. Now that we've talked about production a little bit, I think there may be some people out in the audience who are wondering, because everybody on the panel seems to have a team, or at least a small team up to a very large team. How did you get started with building a team, and what was the first step? Because I know there's a lot of agents out there, they go, oh, I'd love to have a team. How does that work? How do I get started? What's the first step? And I'd like to try to get some insight from you guys, because you all have teams. It seems to be a common thing across all of us on the panel. Let's start with, I'm not going to put you on the spot here, Crystal, again, because I feel like I start with you every time. You're like, oh gosh. So Jamie, I'm gonna put you, give you the mic here. What's a good tip you can help an agent who feels like they want to have a team, and what's the next step, and how can we get the ball rolling for them?
That is a really great question. And I think for when I first started a team, it was my boyfriend at the time, who is now my husband, and I partnered up, and then we hired our first high school co-op. We needed someone, we were told to hire someone before we were ready. And because when you're ready, it's really difficult to train someone while you are um, uh, trying to run sales and do everything else while you're running a busy business when you're hiring someone to help you with that. So we hired and we were like, okay, well, we need someone like 3 or 4 hours a day, Monday through Friday, and we need them to be reliable. So that's where this idea of a high school co-op came into play. It worked out really well for us. We had one high school co-op one year that we had to fire a few months in because she was showing up in slippers and not listening to anything that we would coach her on. But generally speaking, it's been a really, really good program for us. And that would be my advice. Hire before you're ready. Start small. If you're okay with it, find someone who's got grit and who wants to succeed and do it before you get frustrated because you're so busy you're pulling your hair out.
Yeah, absolutely. There's two things that you said, Jamie, that kind of stuck out. And one of them is you had to let somebody go. And I know that I have several people right now that are building a team and they added a couple people to the team and the communication wasn't good and the expectations weren't set. And so it kind of came unraveled and some of the people left and some of the people she had to let go. So she's very frustrated with that. And but in the same breath, it's like you can't let that discourage you and you have to then go back to the drawing board, get better, learn from it, tighten up on your expectations and your communication with the person that you're hiring, and then go at it again, right?
Yeah, so if my team's like 15 agents right now, we got a new one coming over, I think today. We've probably, since we've run a team, which has been about 7 years now, we've probably fired 30. So if we have 15,
Wow.
we probably fired 30. And my coach tells one of his Johnisms is the fastest way to change a culture is to hire and fire. If you've got a bad culture, you can hire someone new or you can fire someone that's there and your culture changes.
Wow,
And
that's
if you're
amazing.
not 100% happy with what your culture is, hire or fire.
Absolutely. And somebody else said, and I think maybe it was you that said earlier about how you have a team and the culture is amazing, and that's
No,
because
I
what's
think
that?
that might have been Lisa, but our culture is also great. But yeah.
Okay. All right. Awesome. It's based on who you hire though, and you have to be able to pull the trigger on firing somebody too if it's not a good fit. Um, you
And
said something else that was great too.
And the trick for firing, in my opinion, having done it so many times, is when you create clear expectations up front and you hold them to the expectations that you've set. We use Trainual to highlight what they're supposed to be doing on a day to day, on a month to month, setting goals, and we can see when they log into that last. We can see where they stopped. We can see through KV Core if they're calling their leads, and just set the expectations up front and hold them accountable.
Right. And then it's easy to just say you're not meeting expectations. We've told you, we've told you, we've told you. And then it's easy to just say, do you feel like you're meeting expectations? And they say no, then it's an easy decision. So wow,
Yeah,
thank you so much, Jamie.
uh, I'll add to that real quick if you don't mind. What I
Sure.
would say instead is have them set the expectations with your guidance, and then what that looks like for a conversation is these are the expectations you set for yourself. You are not meeting them. What do we need to do? And have a cliff conversation.
Right.
Jump off the cliff or jump out of the, do it or not.
Right. That's great. The fact that you said that you fired 30 people though is a very good indicator to everybody out in the audience that it's not a one-time thing where you hire your first person and they're the perfect person and then it's a very much trial and error, which is the same thing with every aspect of our business too. So um, I want to hit on one other thing too. It's based on the better, it almost seems like the more advanced the agent is and the more set in their ways, the harder it is for them to hire another agent because they feel like no one is going to do the listing like they are. No one's going to treat my buyer like I can. And I know a guy that sells $100 million worth of real estate a year up here in Cleveland and down in Florida, and he just won't hire anybody. He's like, nope, no one's going to do this. And so he ends up never getting any leverage. So even though he has an amazing business, he can never get any leverage by hiring any other agents because he's so set in the way that he does his business that he's handcuffed. So awesome,
Yeah.
Jamie. Thank you. Let's see, John, what's something that you can tell everybody about how to get started with building a team and how did you do it? Seeing that you've only been in the business for 4 years too, that's an amazing feat.
Thank you. Well, last year I sold 74 homes and only 2 of those were on my team. And last year I was going nuts. You kind of just talked about this, how handcuffed I was to the business.
Yep.
So I kind of just told myself, all right, I don't want to work these insane hours I'm working doing everything. So, it just kind of started with actually 2 guys, and they were both clients of mine who wanted to get into real estate. And we just talked about it, and I said, well, I don't think I'm the best person to talk about how to do this because I feel like it's a ongoing work in progress for me. But it happened organically for me, and I think the reason it happened is I was just everybody in the marketplace, my local marketplace, recognized me and saw what I was doing in real estate. And actually, I think 6 out of the 9 agents on my team have been clients of mine. So I don't know if anybody else has ever hired their own clients, but this is kind of how it's been working out for me. And everyone on my team has been brand new. So I think I've also had the benefit of instilling some good habits right from the get-go. And I mean, there's still a lot of things I need to work on. Like I know I'm not the best with accountability, but the one thing I have done with every new agent is I've really focused on with them on like their first 3, 4 deals, like doing everything with them from the start to finish. And I think that's really helped instill confidence with them. And so far it's been working out. So
Yeah.
so yeah.
That's a very unique way to get your team started, but I guess it just points out the fact that there is no right way or wrong way. It's just, however it kind of unfolds. Um, was anyone more, what's the right word, intentional about building the team? It sounds to me like that maybe have kind of fell in your lap type of thing. And you're like, oh, yeah, I need some people and they kind of want to do it. And it just unfolded in front of you. Was there anyone on the panel that actually did it more intentionally? Okay, so maybe yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sorry, go
I,
ahead.
I don't want to take over if anybody else's, but we were very intentional in growing a team.
Okay, all right, awesome. Well, thanks, John. That was very helpful. Did you want to add anything else to that?
Victor was in the comments and he just asked if he thought it was reasonable that a brand new agent could start a team. And I would say yes, it is. What I responded to him in the chat was that if you don't do it for money, do it for impact. I think every team leader here can agree that it's a very ungratitude filled where the agents aren't necessarily grateful for the work that you put into them and what you do for the team. And don't do it for the money, don't do it for the gratitude, do it for the impact of what you would want to do to see other people's lives change and support and expect nothing in return. And if you can do that, even if you're a brand new agent, if you're working together towards building a life of impact, I think that you can do it even as a brand new agent.
That's amazing. Thank you, Jamie. That was super powerful. It is very true, though. When you go from an agent to being a team leader, it's a totally different skill set. And you may be an amazing real estate agent and able to sell a lot of real estate, but it's a different skill set that you need to build and work on. It's a different muscle that you need to flex when you're becoming a leader and you're helping other agents learn how to do what you do. So, but the earlier you can get started with something like that, the more used to you're gonna get. You're gonna get used to that role a lot better than just thinking maybe someday in the future you'll be ready for it versus just getting started and start getting the idea of what it's like to be a leader. So, Lisa, what can you tell us about getting your team started?
Well, first I'll go back to the beginning. It was called desperation.
Oh, okay.
And so, and then decision. And so, I remember hiring my first transaction coordinator, probably too late, should have done that sooner. And I was actually on vacation and with my children, we were standing in the middle of New York City, Chinatown, and my phone rang. I answered, past
Mhm.
client. All of a sudden, they want to list their house. And when I was able to pick up that phone and call my TC and say I needed a listing packet, and then my kids and I went to get foot massages after walking all of Manhattan. It's about
Wow.
creating a life, right? And
Yep.
when you have leverage, the purpose of business is to fund the perfect life. And on the sidebar behind that all is really, honestly, one of my favorite quotes of all time is give a man a fish, he eats for a day. Teach a man to fish, he eats for the rest of his days. When you help people, like I think it was Jamie was just saying, and that you're coming from contribution into their lives and helping them to change their lives, helping them to have what you have, or maybe what you're going to have, or maybe what they want. There is so much in that energy that I feel like I get as a team leader to hear about other people's dreams and goals and to be a small part of that. And they're the one that has to make it happen. And at the same time, it's like a wow factor. And the question of the new agent, starting out, whenever I have somebody on my team, I don't sugarcoat our conversations. I talk to them and I say, literally, I am speaking to you like you're going to have your own team someday. So the reason why we're doing this, or why we have to do this way, you're going to have your own team someday. And that's what if that's what they want for themselves, that's what I want for them. And if they want to stay on the team forever, that's cool too. And at the same
Wow.
time, I'm going to assume that people want to grow, and share what we have, come from contribution, come from a place of collaboration, and yeah, you got to hold hands sometimes, and you got to take care of people and meet them at their level or their needs. Yet
Mhm.
you have to see that they have the potential, and you have to find that potential and help them to see that potential.
Right. Wow, you said so many good things. The one thing that comes to mind though is that you're bringing someone onto your team with the expectation that someday they may want to have their own team. And that's super powerful because as a Remax agent that for 10 years, I had this issue that um, the only way that you can make any franchise brokerage, the only way that the team leader could make money is if the people on the team don't ever leave. And it's really a difficult situation because then when people leave the team, it could end up as like this really horrible divorce. And you're in this situation where, hey, I'm ready to spread my wings. Thank you so much. You taught me so much. But there's usually a lot of hurt feelings and and then they go separate ways. And well, it seems like that happens a lot. But with the platform that we have at eXp Realty, you can have somebody jump on your team. You could say, yeah, you want to be solo? That's great. You want to jump on my team for a while? That's great too. My intention is to only help you the best way that I can. And if that means joining the team for a couple months or a year and a half or whatever you want, and then someday you raise your hand and say, I'm ready to leave, then everybody's on the same page and you're not leaving me, you're just leaving the team so that I can now help you build your team or your solo career. And that's a huge difference between Remax, where I was, and where we are now at eXp Realty. Is it's not just about building wealth for myself as the team leader. It's about helping somebody else someday build wealth for themselves and leverage in their own team, and not feeling this weird feeling of you used me for the last year and now you're leaving me. So that been a huge difference in my business. And you said this word for word, Lisa. You said, um, I want to help you build a team someday too. And it's if you're thinking about recruiting to EXP, I think those are powerful words that, yeah, jump on the team if you want for a while, whatever's going to be best for you. If you want to come solo, that's great too. So keep that in mind. Thank you, Lisa. Crystal.
Hi.
Hi.
Actually, that's a really good point, Darren. I haven't had anyone leave our team. We've only been with EXP for a short period of time, but I haven't had anyone actually leave our team over at EXP and stay with EXP yet. So that's an interesting perspective because it does change culture essentially, right? EXP culture is very different than any other brokerage, whereas Remax was always a very competitive brokerage. And I found even when we had people leave our team when we were at Remax, it became not the most pleasant.
Right.
But usually,
Nice choice
usually
of
when,
words.
usually when they left, though, there's other factors, right? Taking clientele, etc., right? So it
Right.
becomes a little bit different. So I guess
Training the competition in that case, right? You're basically training up the competition because they're leaving you one by one, and you've trained them up.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think most people leave eventually. I mean, their lives change, right? So it is what it is, and hopefully, I mean, with our other team members that have left, you know, for life changes, we've always maintained a good relationship with them, and still, in a lot of ways, mentor some of them as their own agents, even at different brokerages. They still will phone and ask for, you know, help or guidance, which I think says a lot. If we can, you know, break those relationships and still maintain a positive impact, I think that's pretty amazing. For
Right.
us, though, when we started a team, it was a solo agent myself, 13 years in, and it, I just had an overage of lead volume, and I just couldn't keep up. And I worked with a couple different agents on a referral basis, and I mean, that's a, it's not a great way to handle the leads. They just weren't getting necessarily the same care. And then when I was so incredibly busy, my husband decided that he would get his real estate license. He was a mortgage broker, so it wasn't really that far-fetched. And so he joined me, and then it just continued to explode. And then we'd hired one agent, and then that wasn't enough, and hired another agent. And right now we have, there's my husband, myself, and 3 other agents. And it's actually the perfect blend. We have, it's about culture, as Jamie mentioned earlier. We have absolutely great culture where if somebody, as an example, we had one agent who over COVID got sick, and it was Easter Sunday, and she couldn't meet her clients that were flying in for a walkthrough because she was positive. And she put it in, we have a group chat on text, and she put it in there, and she said, "Oh, I need coverage." Before I could even pick up the like and read all the text, our other agent was like, "I gotcha." And I thought that was pretty astounding for a holiday Sunday where you're probably with your family. So culture is
Right.
great.
Awesome. Well, that was all great information. Is it taboo to talk about splits? Because I'm just curious to see. I do want to circle back and catch John though too. Let's do that first. John, why don't you give us gosh, I'm having deja vu now. Did you already give us your tips on building your team? Did. Because Crystal was the last one.
Yes.
Is it taboo to talk about splits? Because I'm just very curious. Um, some agents come to the team and they see the value in the split, and they're just like, "Oh yeah, I totally get it. This is worth it for me to just jump on your team and learn how to do things." Um, what are some of the typical splits, and have you changed them, or have they evolved over the course of while you've been running your team? Does anyone want to take that one?
I can. So my splits are I'm actually running it on the calendar year, so it's based on closings from January to December 31st.
Okay.
Right now it's 50%. We've split everything 50-50. Once you hit 24 or 25 deals and beyond, it's 60%. And then if you hit over 36, it's 70%.
So let me try to get this. So the split doesn't change by your lead versus company lead. You just have a split based on how many deals they've done, and then their whole split just moves up. It's a fixed split no matter where the lead came from.
Correct.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. That's not everybody's willing to come forward and kind of give up that information, but it's certainly helpful. Is anybody else comfortable sharing that information before we move on to the next question?
Yeah, I'm happy to, Darren. We used to do a company versus team split. I figure my splits change about every 18 months. Anybody who wants to be grandfathered in can be, just because I feel like it takes about that long to determine what didn't work. But we just changed all of ours in April, and we actually are running 2 splits on the team. We are a standard team, so there's 2 options. One of them is with an $8,000 cap, the half cap option on the team, and it's a straight 60-40, and they get all of the services paid for by the team. So like professional photography, virtual assistants, ad spend for marketing companies that were partnered with, leads, things like that. And then we have a full cap split, and with that full cap split, they have access to all those things, but they would have to pay for like their ad spend. They don't actually have access to leads, but they'd have to pay for their ad spend. But they have access to the company that does that work for us. And so it's a very limited service for them, but that is just a $395 per transaction fee at time of close. And that's catered to more of the high producing agents to continue to have our signs in yards, and that seems to be working well right now.
What's the split for the higher producing agent? You said
$395 a transaction. That's it.
Oh, I see. Okay, so they can stay on the team for $395 a transaction.
Yep.
Awesome.
But then they have no leads, and they pay for any of the services that they use. So it's kind of like an a la carte.
A la carte. Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. Does anyone else want to share on that before we move on? Okay. Let's see. I guess we have a few more minutes, not much. Instead of asking another question, I'm just going to open it up and just say, does anybody have any final tips on any of the things that we've talked about today? Anything pop into your head throughout the course of our session here today that you'd like to offer up to the group here? Start with Lisa. 60 seconds, Lisa.
That's going to be difficult.
Less 30 seconds then.
Even harder. And just get me stop talking. That's the hard part. Tips, you know what? Just do it. I'm really proud of one of the newest guys that I have on my team. Sometimes I want to say, hey, slow down, get some scripts, get some, practice. I don't think anybody's really talked about that kind of stuff. And at the same time, I'm just so proud of what he's doing, because he's actually doing it. He's just getting out there. He's doing everything. He's trying everything. He's finding out what his niche is. He's doing open houses, making calls. And so, whatever you think that you're going to like to do, just do it. And so that would be my tip to the new agents. Just do it.
I love it. Just take action. Just do something. There's so much information to soak up from every place in EXP here that there's plenty of information. You just got to grab onto it and try something and just do it. So that's great. Thanks, Lisa. And you also did that in less than 60 seconds. So, John, what do you got for us? 60-second last minute tips.
I'd say this is a team tip. One thing I've have focused on is just how I'm constantly adding value to all my team members. And I feel like for me, people leave teams all the time. So I'm always thinking about that. What can I do more? How can I add more value with services? And I've kind of, why I have my splits the way I do is because I'm trying to give agents on my team just the opportunity to focus on one thing, and that's selling. And that's like all I want them doing is selling, having conversations, being out there with their clients, and that's it. Not getting like bogged down with all those back end processes and transaction management. So yeah, that's always has been my focus and continues to be, just to continually add value to their lives, so they want to continue partnering with me.
Awesome. Thanks, John. Jamie, last minute tips.
I am kind of the same with Lisa. I would just say just show up. Just show up, do the work. You don't have to do it perfect. You don't have to sit in perfection paralysis. Just do something. Take a step.
Awesome. Crystal, what's your last tip for the day?
I'd say accountability. Having goals and if I'm going to call 10 people today, make yourself accountable and call those 10 people. Or if you're going to, go do some door knocking in the community, just get out there and I guess like everyone else is saying, just do it, but hold yourself accountable, because it's easy to say, oh, you know what, I was too busy today, I didn't get that done, and then the days just kind of roll on and you still didn't do it. So that's
Right.
challenging yourself to be accountable.
Yep, I love it. I think today's overall theme then is going to be just do it, guys. Just get out there and do something, build a team, make a phone call, pass out your business card, do an event, send out a flyer, email marketing, whatever that is. You have to just start doing more. And then once you find something that starts working, then you just double down on it and you start building metrics like, hey, I called 10 people today, turned into one listing. You want 2 listings? Well, you got to call 20 people. Those types of things where you can scale what's working and maybe abandon things after a while that's not working. So, well, I appreciate everyone on this panel. You guys are truly an inspiration to all of us. I took 2 or 3 pages of notes myself, and just really appreciate you guys. And thank you so much. So we'll see you guys on the next ICONversations. Take care, everybody.